You ever stand in the hallway, arms crossed, just staring at a cabinet, knowing it's full, but not with what you need? Not junk, not trash, just too much. Too many papers, too many kitchen tools, too many maybe I'll use it one day things. And you whisper to yourself, where the heck do I even begin? If that's you, today's video is your gentle starting point. No big cleanouts, no guilt trips, just 18 small, steady tips designed for seniors who feel stuck. Tips that bring space, calm, and that soft sigh of relief when you can finally sit down and say, I like being in here again. Last spring, Elaine, she's 69, lives in a small brick duplex near Asheville, told me she hadn't opened her hall closet in over 3 years. She said it held everything I never got to, including her son's Boy Scout uniform and 3 sealed boxes from her move in 2009. There was a stack of old AARP magazines from her mother, too. She kept them because they reminded her of how they used to sit on Sundays clipping recipes they never cooked. Elaine wasn't messy. She was just full of years, of memories, of what if I let go and regret it? So if you're anything like Elaine, loving, thoughtful, a little overwhelmed, come sit with me for a while. Let's start where it's light. One drawer, one breath, one kind choice at a time. Ready? Let's begin. 1. Start with the room you avoid most. There's always that one room you keep the door shut on. Maybe it's the guest bedroom that quietly turned into a just put it there space. Or the laundry room where baskets hide unopened boxes. Not because it's messy, but because going in there stirs something you're not quite ready to feel. Here's the gentle tip. Start there. Not to finish it, not to fix it, just to see it again. Maybe you only walk in, sit down, and breathe for a minute. That's still a beginning. Joanne, 7, told me she hadn't stepped into her sewing room since her husband passed. The machine was still there. The projects half folded, but also, so was the sunlight that warmed his chair every morning. Last March, she opened that door again just to dust the windowsill. That day, she didn't sort a thing, but she said, it felt like visiting an old part of myself, and not crying this time. I've done the same. There's a shed out back I didn't step into for 2 winters. But the day I swept just the threshold, I felt like I took my power back. Slowly, kindly. Sometimes the mess we avoid the most holds the part of us we're most tender about. A closed door keeps out dust, but it also keeps out healing. And once you've walked through that door, even just to say, I'm here, you're already ahead. Now let's zoom in closer. 2. Just pick one surface. Some mornings, the mess looks louder than the silence. Counters, chairs, end tables, stuff piles up until you forget what the wood underneath looks like. And the thought of decluttering feels like standing at the bottom of a mountain in slippers. So don't climb. Just clear one surface, one dresser top, one bathroom shelf. Just enough space to place a cup of tea without bumping into yesterday. Margaret, 71, started with the table next to her recliner. It held old pill bottles, expired coupons, 3 Reader's Digest issues, and a broken lamp chain. It took 10 minutes to clear. Then she lit her cinnamon candle and whispered, there, this space knows me again. For me, it was the top of my nightstand. I used to keep receipts, keys, mail, until one night I cleared it and placed a single photo frame there. My late dog, Buddy. Every night since, I see that space and smile. One clean surface is more than a win. It's an invitation to peace, to presence, to pause. Peace doesn't arrive in boxes. It shows up in the corners we finally make room for. And when you give yourself permission to start small, you begin to believe, maybe the rest isn't so impossible either. Let's keep going, slowly, gently. 3. Use a timer, just 10 minutes, 1.3 foot. There's something about a whole afternoon free that makes decluttering feel even heavier. Like the pressure to finally get it done takes all the breath out of trying. But what if you didn't need a whole afternoon? What if 10 quiet minutes were enough? Set a timer, that's it. 10 minutes. You don't have to finish a drawer, a cabinet, or a room. Just begin and stop when the timer goes off. No guilt, no pressure. Ruth, 69, keeps a little owl-shaped timer by her kitchen sink. She winds it right after breakfast and works through one drawer while her coffee's still warm. She told me, "I used to think I had to finish the whole kitchen. Now I just aim for the junk drawer before the timer dings." I remember doing the same in my garage, just 10 minutes each morning before it got too hot. One time, I found a box of old keys. I had no idea what they opened. I let them go. And it felt like letting go of questions I didn't need answered anymore. Time doesn't just pass. It protects. And 10 minutes of clarity a day adds up faster than we think. A few minutes of kindness toward your space can rewrite how your whole day feels. And once the timer goes off and your tea's still warm, you might just feel ready for the next gentle step. 4. Start with trash, not treasures. Sometimes we walk into a room and our eyes go straight to the memories. The baby blanket in the closet, the teacups from grandma's wedding. And suddenly we freeze. Not because of the clutter, but because our heart doesn't know where to begin. So here's a softer entry. Start with the obvious trash. The expired coupons, the dried out pens, the faded receipts from Walgreens that somehow ended up in your AARP magazines. Let the first things you toss be the ones that don't argue back. Francine, 73, called me once, crying, holding a chipped mug from her sister's house. She wanted to let go, but couldn't. So I gently asked her, "What's something nearby you don't need to think about?" She said, "The pile of church newsletters from 2016. That's where she began. For me, it was the junk mail drawer. You know the one. I didn't start with keepsakes. I started with circulars from a furniture store I never visited. Clearing them felt safe, simple, and it gave me the courage to keep going. Before we lift the memories, let's lift the weightless clutter first. You don't have to make a hard decision to start. You just have to make one. And the beauty is, once you've taken out the trash, you'll see your space and your confidence clear a little too. Let's move gently now towards something even more freeing. 5. The 5-item rule. Some mornings, even walking past the hallway closet feels like too much. You know the one, it's not messy, just full of choices, full of maybe laters. And when everything feels important, it's hard to choose anything at all. That's where the 5-item rule becomes your quiet companion. Just pick 5 things. That's it. 5. You can toss them, donate them, or simply set them aside. But stop at 5. It's not about clearing a space. It's about building trust with yourself. Elaine, 68, started this with the cabinet under her bathroom sink. She said, 5 expired bottles, gone in less than 5 minutes. I didn't even realize I'd been holding onto a bottle of cold cream from 2009. That wind carried her into the linen closet the next day. I used to feel frozen in front of my bookcase. I didn't want to give away knowledge. But when I told myself, just 5, it felt like a whisper of permission. I let go of the guides I never opened, and somehow the room felt kinder. Small steps don't just shrink the clutter, they quiet the fear. And sometimes when 5 items leave, 5 quiet smiles return. Let's keep going, gently now, with a tip that helps you part with things you're not quite ready to say goodbye to. 6. Relocate before you release. There are items we're not quite ready to toss, but we know they don't belong where they are. That sweater in your entryway closet that hasn't seen sunlight since Bush was president. The bread maker you haven't used since the church fundraiser in 2010. Instead of forcing a final decision, try this. Move it. Relocate it to a holding spot, A box, a basket, a corner of the laundry room. Set a reminder. If it's untouched in 30 days, it's time to let go. Dorothy, 71, had an old sewing machine from her sister. It sat under the dining table, gathering dust. She wasn't ready to part with it, but she also wasn't sewing. I helped her move it into the hall closet with a note. If I don't open this by April, donate it to Goodwill. April came. She never missed it. For me, it was my father's toolbox. I kept it out of guilt, but never used it. One day, I moved it to the shed, and the house breathed easier. Sometimes letting go starts with just letting it leave the room. And when you give yourself space, mentally and physically, you often discover that what stays is what truly serves. Now let's explore another small shift that makes a big difference in staying clutter-free. 7. Price tags are not promises. You ever open a closet and spot a jacket with the tag still dangling? You meant to wear it, maybe to church or brunch with the girls, but it's been 4 winters and it's still right there, unworn, untouched, and now quietly haunting. That little tag doesn't mean you must use it. It doesn't demand space in your life forever. It was a decision once, not a life contract. So if something still has a price tag and you haven't used it, let it go. It already served its purpose. It taught you what you don't need. Louise, 67, bought a blender from QVC. She swore she'd make green smoothies every morning, but it sat in her pantry next to unopened cookbooks. One day, she brought it to her local church pantry. Someone else needed it more than she ever would. I remember buying a leather-bound planner. It felt like a fresh start, but I never wrote a word in it. Years later, I found it still wrapped. I donated it. Someone else could write a new chapter. The real cost of clutter isn't money, it's peace. And sometimes peace begins when you stop trying to earn back the value and just let it go. Now, let's talk about the quiet pressure that hides behind our kindness. 8. Don't keep things out of obligation. It's that ceramic angel from your neighbor's memorial, the knitted scarf from your cousin still in the gift bag, or the framed cross stitch from your sister-in-law that never matched your walls. You didn't choose them, but somehow they ended up choosing you. Here's the truth. Keeping something out of guilt isn't honoring the person, it's burdening yourself. You can love someone deeply and still let go of what doesn't belong in your space. Eleanor, 72, had a shelf of dusty figurines gifted over the years. Birthdays, Christmas, retirement. They all meant well, she told me, but they never matched who I was. When she finally boxed them up for Goodwill, she cried, but not out of sadness. Relief. I once held on to a handmade quilt from an old friend. It was beautiful, but it didn't feel like me. Donating it was hard, but I imagined someone finding comfort in it, and that helped. You don't have to carry the weight of other people's intentions. And when you release that weight, something surprising happens. Your home starts to feel like yours again. Let's keep moving. The next tip is a quiet one, but it might change everything. 9. Use a donation basket. There's something oddly comforting about setting things down gently instead of tossing them out. A quiet place to say, not for me anymore, but still good. That's what a donation basket does. You keep it somewhere visible, like by the back door or next to the washer. And every time you stumble on something you no longer need, extra mugs, scarves, that third set of measuring spoons, it goes in the basket. No pressure, no big decision, just a soft release. I remember Jean, 66, who kept a woven laundry basket next to her coat closet. She dropped in things slowly. A sweater that didn't zip right, books she knew she wouldn't read again. When it filled, she'd take it to her local Goodwill. It felt like a small kindness, she said, to me and to someone else. I keep one in my mudroom. It's not fancy, just a plastic Walmart tote, but it helps me feel like I'm still choosing my space, not letting it choose me. Sometimes freedom doesn't come from a purge. It comes from a basket waiting patiently. Let's move on. The next tip is something tiny but powerful. It can change how you see duplicates forever. 10. The one extra rule. Why do we have 3 spatulas when we only use one? Or 6 black t-shirts when our favorite's always in the wash? That's where the one extra rule comes in. For most things, kitchen tools, linens, even reading glasses, you only need one and a backup. That's it. One to use, one just in case. The rest? They're just noise in a drawer. Elaine, 70, told me her kitchen drawer was a mess. 4 can openers, 5 ice cream scoops. I didn't even realize how many I had until I lined them up, she laughed. She kept her favorite and one spare. The rest went to a local church sale. I did the same with mugs once. I had 12. I only ever used 2. Letting go of the others didn't feel like loss. It felt like clarity. The backup is enough. The extras are just echoes of someday. And when you begin clearing those echoes, your home starts to sound more like you. Let's keep going, friend. The next tip is gentle, but it'll help you move forward when you're stuck in the maybe. 11. Touch everything once. There's a quiet kind of fatigue that comes from moving the same thing over and over again without really deciding. That bag you shuffled from the chair to the floor, the papers you stack, restack, and walk away from. Touch everything once means this. When you pick something up, decide its path. Keep, donate, toss. No circling back, no delayed piles. Just trust the moment your hand meets the item. Marjorie, 68, told me her guest room had become a decision zone, full of bags half sorted. It made her feel stuck, so she tried this rule. If I touched it, I chose, she smiled. And little by little, the room became mine again. I used to stall on mail. It sat in a pile near my fridge, but once I tried this, I either opened it, recycled it, or filed it. No more loops, just clarity. Peace isn't in the sorting, it's in the choosing. Let's shift now to something softer, more beautiful. What if letting go could feel like giving joy? 12. Make gifting a joyful ritual. You know that blouse you haven't worn in years, but still feels too lovely for the trash? Or that vase from your anniversary? Too big for your shelf, but too dear to toss. Here's the secret. Don't discard. Gift. And not just gift. Ritualize it. Wrap the item gently. Write a note. Think of someone who would love it now. You're not just decluttering, you're sending love forward. Joanne, 72, shared that she gave her granddaughter a tea set she'd kept since 1985. It was dusty, she said, but I cleaned it, tied a ribbon around the box, and told her every cup reminded me of gentle mornings. Her granddaughter cried. So did she. When I gave my nephew an old pocket knife from my father, I felt like I was passing a story, not an object. Letting go feels different when it lands in someone's hands with warmth. Now, not every moment of decluttering needs to be deep. Some can be fun. That brings us to something that's helped many of my friends shift from dread to delight. Turn tidying into music time. Some mornings feel heavy before they begin. You look around, see the piles, and just sigh. But what if, instead of starting with the mess, you started with a song? Put on a playlist, Frank Sinatra, Carole King, maybe a bit of Motown, and just move. Fold towels to the rhythm. Sort your kitchen drawer with Aretha humming beside you. Linda, 66, told me she plays James Taylor while decluttering her bathroom. It feels less like a chore, more like keeping company with my old memories, she said. I always turn on John Denver when clearing my garage. There's something in Take Me Home Country Roads that makes letting go feel like returning. When the heart is singing, even cleaning becomes a kind of prayer. And just like that, we'll move into the next 3 tips. Quiet but powerful ways to gently move forward when the heart is hesitant. Let's go. 14. Invite a friend just to sit. 1.2 foot. Some days, it's not the clutter that's heavy, it's the silence. The thought of starting alone can feel colder than any mess ever could. But what if someone was just there? You don't need a friend to declutter for you, just someone sitting nearby, maybe reading the newspaper, maybe sipping tea. Their presence becomes your warmth. Doris, 71, told me she invited her church neighbor over while sorting old recipes. She didn't say a word, Doris said, just sat on my couch with her knitting, but suddenly letting go of those gravy-stained cards didn't feel like saying goodbye alone. I remember my sister sitting on the porch as I sorted Dad's tools. She didn't need to fix anything, she just existed with me. Sometimes what we need isn't help, it's company. And when something still feels hard to let go, maybe there's another gentle way to honor it first. 15. Take a photo before you let go. There's that apron, the one you wore every Thanksgiving. You don't use it anymore, but parting with it? That's like erasing moments. Here's the shift. Don't erase. Remember. Take a photo. Evelyn, 66, had a shelf of chipped mugs, souvenirs from flea markets and beach trips. She laid them out, snapped a photo, then donated them to the Goodwill bin. Now I smile every time I see the picture, she told me. But my shelf, it breathes again. I've done this too, with my mother's cookbooks. Their smell faded, but their covers stay in my phone and in my heart. A memory saved is a space reclaimed. And when you do decide to release something important, don't rush it. Let it feel sacred. 16. Light a candle. Mark the shift. Letting go isn't always about clutter. It's often about chapters. A part of you says, I'm not that person anymore. That deserves pause and reverence. So light a candle, even for just 5 minutes. Make it a moment. Joe, 69, shared, she lit a lavender candle after clearing out her grown son's closet. He's married now. It was time, she said. But I didn't want it to feel like erasing him. The candle made it feel honoring. For me, lighting a simple flame while closing a storage box brought peace I didn't expect. It helped me whisper thank you. Clearing space means honoring what once lived there. And if a candle feels too quiet, too internal, sometimes saying it aloud makes all the difference. 17. Say goodbye out loud. You'd be surprised what happens when you speak. Thank you for serving me. You were loved. It was time. Lena, 70, once held a sweater from her late husband for years. She kept it in a box under the bed. Then one morning, she held it close and said, "You don't have to stay to be remembered." She cried, then folded it and let it go. I've said goodbye to photo frames, tools, even old postcards. My voice trembled, but afterward, my heart steadied. Words unlock what hands can't carry. And now, one last secret remains, one I believe in with all my being, because it holds the heart of everything we've shared so far. 18. Sit in the space you created. There's something most people forget to do after decluttering. They clean the shelves, donate the bags, close the drawer, and move on. But not you. Not this time. Pause. Sit in that space, the one you just cleared. Let it breathe. Let yourself breathe. Elaine, 74, had spent weeks going through her bedroom closet. She finally let go of 4 old coats she never wore and reorganized the shelves. But the most healing moment wasn't when she shut the door. It was when she opened it the next morning, pulled up a chair, and just sat there. She said, "For the first time in years, my room felt like it forgave me." I've had those moments too, where the silence in the space feels like a blessing, not a hole. Like the room was waiting for me to come back, not to clean it, but to belong in it. A clear space doesn't need to be filled. It needs to be felt. And that's the truth beneath all these tips, not just what you toss, but what you make room for. You didn't watch this to learn how to get rid of junk. You watched because something inside you whispered, "It's time." Time to feel lighter, time to stop apologizing for your home, time to finally feel like you in your space again. Decluttering isn't a performance, it's a quiet return to the life you're living now. If even one tip today made your shoulders drop or brought a breath of peace, just try that one this week. Gently comment below. Which of these 18 spoke to your heart? Share this with a friend who deserves to love her home again. You're not just folding towels or sorting books. You're reclaiming space that reflects who you are today, with less noise, more meaning, and room to finally rest. Your home should feel like a hug from the life you've chosen to live.